let's just transition to the next topic. I mean, like, is hoarding acceptable in the collecting scene?
Okay, so this was a big one for me. So this is a huge topic because let's say this. There's always like a good way to do anything in the world, right? Collect cars, play video games, eat fast food, whatever it is. There's always a good way to do something, like a proper way to do something, and an improper way to do it, right? So with reselling, what's the improper way of reselling? Scalping.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was actually been thinking about that. And it's important to differentiate between resellers and scalpers.
Okay, so
they are two completely different things.
Absolutely. So I want you to jump into that. But what my point was to what Curtis said is, what is the bad way of collecting? Hoarding, right? So it's like what I find interesting in the collecting versus reselling world is it's very accepted to point out the negatives about resellers, right? It's very accepting, like, oh, reseller, scalper, whatever the words. We've heard it all.
Scumbag, you know?
Scumbag. And again, we are massive collectors. I've never owned better stuff in my life. But the community and even ourselves, sometimes we don't point out the bad aspect of collecting, which is hoarding or just holding on to things that necessarily are just being, when you go to someone's house, Ricky, and you see 19 NESs in a closet, and you're like, I don't know.
It was 20.
Oh, it was sorry.
And up until
Just
recently,
to get it right.
up until recently, Ben had literally 1,000 games, and he sold most of them to you
Ben
guys.
had 1,000,
You know
but
what I mean?
yeah,
So
but
it's like crazy.
Yeah, I want to hear where you're going because I'm sure
amazing.
you've got more of the brunt of it. Ricky and I are still massive collectors, but we also do happen to resell. I want to know, like you, I'm sure you've been accused of doing things that are improper. Have you? I mean, what's your journey? Have you ever found yourself being that guy that's like, oh shoot, I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm doing it?
Just in reselling in general?
With what you do, have you done the scalper dirty stuff or?
The scalping, I have never, I'll be honest, never gotten into that. Maybe once or twice there's been something I've bought that like new. When I think of scalping, it's probably
maybe define it better for those who
it.
don't.
Yeah, when I think of scalping, that's like PS5 scalping. Like you go out with the intention of buying something that you're never going to use that is like usually generally like new, like a hot item that's come out. You're buying that and then you're holding on to it or flipping it like immediately. Right. And the reason I don't like it is because it's taking away, like, that's something that people want to use immediately. Yes. Like, if I want to go get a PS5 and now I can't get it, and now you bought one and you're putting it online for $800, like, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, of course.
And to me, it's completely different than, like, us going to Golden West, hunting, finding stuff that's, like, out nowhere land and bringing that back almost to the community and reselling it for collectors or us to use and stuff. Totally different things. So as far as the scalping, like, even with the stores, like when the PS5s come out, we set like a trade price at like $350. They retail for $500. We're only going to pay $350 with the idea that we'll sell them for like $450. I don't get involved with the like, oh, well, they're going for $1,000. We'll pay $600. And a lot of times people will walk in with PS5s and they'll be like, how much would you give me for PS5? I'm like $350.
You're not giving them scalper prices.
Yeah, they're like, well, I can sell it online for $1,000. I'm like, good luck. I'll wait, and we'll just wait. We'll wait until the price gets down back to reality, which is kind of where it is now.
Totally.
And so that probably dates all the way back to like when I opened the store, I think the 360 had just come out.
Okay.
And the PS3s. So the scalping was going on with the PS3s back then.
I saw it.
And we didn't partake in it then either.
I saw it with the new Zelda.
The Wii U one?
No, the new just now, like the one like 2 days ago.
Oh, sorry, Switch.
The new console, whatever it is. The new Zelda game has.
Oh, it's going to get scalped to death.
No, it did already. It dropped yesterday or something, and my buddies were sending. Oh, it was Gabo sending me things saying, "Here we go," and it's on eBay, $800 and he's like, "What the crap?" Ricky, maybe I think it'd be an interesting conversation because he sells in a store. Yeah. Curtis will sell on eBay and stuff. You and I really only got into reselling when it came to Whatnot. We have a very different experience than most people. We don't resell on eBay. We don't really sell on Mercari. I did for a short period of time, but then I stopped. We kind of live on like a good luck method. Maybe tell people what we do and how we do it and kind of what it does for us.
Dude, I feel like for years and years, all we did was go to the swap and just keep everything. And if we ever wanted to sell anything, because it was really frowned upon back then, it was like I'd sell it to a buddy and that's it.
Yeah.
So we couldn't do anything else. But honestly, after having been so many times, I'm like, dude, it has become like a hoarding thing. Almost.
Yeah. No,
I have bins and bins of stuff. Luckily, we do Whatnot now, so I'm like, all right, let's let the people have a hit on it. Hit on it.
Tell them the extreme of what happened to our buddy. I don't know if we've told Chris or Curtis this, but back in the day when we were pubescent teens, no, we weren't. We were in our 20s. We were youngins, maybe a month and 2 months into YouTube, and we had a buddy named Retro Hungry. Why don't you?
Dude, a good buddy. It was Retro Hungry. So he had found, a pallet.
Arrow Fighters.
Oh, Arrow Fighters. He had this pallet had a ton of games, but the thing he got like a lot of like flack for was this Arrow Fighters he found. I'm like, dude, awesome. But he didn't sell it to anyone in the community. So when that happened, he kind of he got kicked out of the scene fast. I felt so bad. What was it? We didn't see him like a month later.
Yep.
That was it.
It was so bad that he was just a good dude, collected. We hung out with him all the time, and he bought a game, and he was one of the first retro collectors on YouTube to be like, yeah, I just sold it on eBay, and I got what someone paid for it. And banished, dude. Hated. Dislike central, hundreds of dislikes. All of a sudden, this guy was public enemy #1. And I think that's when Ricky and I were like, wow. Like, we knew that reselling was frowned upon, but I was like, they will hate you. And they will turn on you back then. And I remember telling that to Retro Rick when he like posted on his channel. He's like, yep, I found this for $5 at Goodwill and it sold for whatever, what it goes for. And I commented back then, I'm still friends with him, but I'm like, it's just crazy because, again, when he came in, it was so foreign to me to see that. I'm like, if I would have posted that on mine, it was a death wish. Like, you're sending your channel to the grave if you did that.
And you just started like not even like a year and a half ago. I've been doing it for about 10 years, and I think Chris, you said 12, right? Since you opened up your store.
Probably even before the store. Probably I was selling online strictly back then.
And I think yours is more interesting just because you do have to put up a storefront and like how you would get things. When you do get things, is it easier for you? Do you have time to hunt out in the field?
I do the hunting now. Like when we go to Golden West and stuff, I do that just because.
Shh, don't give our spot away.
No,
we don't edit these.
It's so blown up at this point. There's so many hunters there.
Our homie Metro back there, cut it somehow.
It's funny because it's like I'll run into people like I've never seen on YouTube, but like they'll hang around people that are in the space, and I'll be introduced to them. I'm like, I don't know who these people are.
Yeah.
Right. And like even them, like even when I got introduced to them, it was just kind of random. We just run into each other, and I was like, oh, those retro guys again. You know.
The reason I still go out, I think, if to answer your question, is why I still go to Golden West. Like the items that I find now are literally like a drop in the bucket. Like most of the inventory that I get comes in through the store, and a lot of times people will come into the stores and they'll be like, "Wow, where do you find all this stuff?" I'm like, it's all trade-ins. Yeah. So when I go and like even get a full truck, not a truckload, but a
buggy. What do we
wagon? A wagon full.
We got like 2 wagons
Thank
full.
you. So a wagon full of whatever. Say we find VHS or some shirts or all miscellaneous stuff. It's literally a drop in the bucket. So why I do it though is because I love the hunt.
Absolutely.
Right? And to me, that's the greatest thing I like about collecting is going out and finding it, which is why, it's not for money. It's not for anything other than a few reasons now, actually. I like going out, hunting. It's good exercise. We'll get out there and walk around.
Absolutely.
And like seeing you guys
right
now,
before we drink like 10 pounds of soda and chronic taco.
But and now it's kind of changed too, where like you guys are there.
Yeah.
It's good friend Mort and other Tony, all these guys that we know.
It's like a whole giant. It's a second family.
Yeah. And
it
so
really is.
I'm excited now to go on Saturdays to I'm like, oh, I'm going to see all you guys, like a good time to hang out. We get together. We're going around doing stuff. If we weren't doing that, I don't know, when would we all meet up all the time? So there's a few, that's why I still go hunting. I love that aspect of finding stuff.
I think you hit it on the head with the thrill of the hunt, and then that's been talked about forever on YouTube. And I think that we're in a special position that we've been doing this for so long that I think it's almost detrimental to be able to continue, like at least for us, doing the show. Because if we were only strictly based on what we're finding, we would have quit a long time ago. I'd say like 2-3 years ago, there was like a pretty good dry spell of us finding like meh stuff.
Yeah.
Now somehow, I don't know how, thank you, Lord, we're finding like amazing stuff every weekend. But again, to what you said, the fact that we can go out there and have so much fun, and we joke all the times to our wives, we're like, we got to go. We joke, we're going to therapy on Saturday morning. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And what you notice in the videos, it's not put on. It's like, we're like a bunch of kids. I mean, we're out there, we're goofing around, we're being stupid. And if you look on everybody's face and you take a moment, everybody's smiling.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good time. Yeah,
it's
always
time.
a good time.
And so many people, are like, that's competition, blah, blah, blah. But not one of us has ever been like, well, yeah, I wish these guys would leave. It's like, no, dude, I don't even care at this point what I find. Again, thankfully, we've been finding good stuff, but it's like. I'm having a great time.
But even like at certain times, like I'll just get what I kind of want out of a certain person or whatever vendor, and then I'll be like, guys, hey, this guy's got great stuff. Like there's still a lot of stuff for you to go and get. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Despite how many people are out there, you can go back on our catalog for the last year and a half, and it's like how every weekend with people that we're meeting and conversations we're having with sellers and vendors. I've been finding too, one of my favorite things I never expected to enjoy was hanging out with the same vendors. Now when they see us, it used to be like, hey, what's up? And now it's like, what up, buddy? Yeah. Just having fun. I mean, we're hanging out with people on Storage Wars and they're holding stuff for us. And it's just, I don't know. I think it's the best medicine you can have.
And it's crazy that you have multiple swap meets where it's like people are just recognizing you now. And it's just like you go up to there and you're just like, I don't know what to do.
It's the biggest blessing, I feel like.